The price of survival. The cold wind blew through the slave market. Strange lights flashed above. Voices of many aliens filled the air. Some laughed, some shouted, some cried. In a dark corner, a woman stood with fear in her eyes. Her name was Lyra. She was not human. Her skin was soft blue and her eyes glowed like stars, but now she was tired, hungry, and scared. Beside her, hidden behind metal boxes, was a small child. Her daughter, only 5 years old. Lyra held her close, hugged her one last time. "You must stay here," Lyra whispered. "Don't move. Don't make a sound." "But Mama," the girl started. "No," Lyra's voice cracked. "I will come back, I promise. Just wait for me." The girl nodded, tears falling from her big eyes. Lyra stood up slowly and walked away. She didn't look back. If she looked, she would break, and she couldn't afford to break now. She walked toward the auction stage. A loud alien voice shouted, "Next, strong female, healthy, good condition." Lyra stepped onto the platform. Bright lights hit her face. The crowd stared at her like an object, not a person. She felt like meat in a market. The auctioneer pulled her forward. "She's quiet, well-trained, very loyal." Starting at 200 credits, bidding started. Alien buyers raised their hands. 200, 250, 280. Suddenly, a deep voice spoke from the back. 500 credits. Everyone turned to look. It was a human. He wore a long, dark coat. His face was calm. His voice was cold but firm. He raised his hand again. 100, the auctioneer smiled wide. "Sold," the crowd whispered. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy, and rich humans were even more rare. Lyra was taken off the stage. A small device was locked on her wrist. The guard pushed her forward. The human waited by a black ship. He nodded at the guard and took the control key. "Come," he said. Lyra looked at him carefully. He didn't look cruel, but she knew better. Kind faces could still hide evil hearts. Inside the ship, Lyra waited for the command. "Sit, clean, work," but the man only said, "You can rest, you have a room now. Food is in the cabinet." Lyra didn't move. She didn't understand. The man looked at her. "I didn't buy you to hurt you," he said. "You're not my slave. You're under my protection, now." She didn't answer. She just stared. That night, Lyra didn't sleep. She looked around her small room. It had a bed, clean clothes, even a soft blanket. But she still slept on the floor. She didn't trust the softness. She didn't trust the man. The next day, she explored the ship quietly. It was clean, advanced. No chains, no prison doors. She found the man in the control room. "My name is Jack," he said without looking at her. "I won't force you to do anything, but you're not safe outside yet. So, stay here. For now." Lyra finally spoke. Her voice was weak. "Why did you buy me?" Jack looked at her. His eyes were not cold anymore. They were sad. He didn't answer. Later, Lyra found a locked door in the ship. It looked old and scratched. She placed her hand on it. It didn't open. Suddenly, she heard something behind the door. A small sound. A cry. She stepped back quickly. That night she dreamed of her daughter, alone, cold, crying for her. She woke up with a start. Her heart pounded. She had to find her child. She had to escape. But Jack was always watching. Kindly, but always there. One evening, Lyra stood at the window, staring into the stars. Jack stood beside her. "You miss someone," he said softly. Lyra looked at him. Her lips shook. "My daughter," she whispered. Jack nodded. "I know what that feels like," he said. "I lost mine." Lyra turned to him surprised. He gave her a small smile. "Maybe. We both can find something again." But Lyra was not ready to trust. Not yet. That night she returned to the locked door. She touched it again, and this time, it opened. Inside, she saw a room filled with old things, toys, clothes, photos. One photo fell to the floor. It showed a child, not human, but her eyes were human. Lyra froze. She picked up the photo. "Who is this?" she asked. Jack stood behind her. He spoke quietly. "Someone I couldn't save," he said. "But maybe I can save yours." Lyra stared at him. Was this the truth, or just another trap? The kindness trap. The sound of laughter echoed through the hallway. Lyra stopped walking. Laughter. She stood still, hiding behind the corner of the metal wall. Her heart beat faster. She had heard many things since coming to this ship, but never laughter. She slowly moved forward. She saw a room with the door half open. Inside, Jack, the human, was watching an old video on a screen. The video showed a small alien girl and a human child running through a garden. The human child laughed loudly. The alien girl tripped and fell, but laughed too. Their hands touched. They were happy. Lyra stared at the screen. She felt cold and confused. She didn't know what this was. She stepped back quietly and walked away, but the laughter stayed in her ears. Lyra didn't try to run. Not yet. She needed more time. She needed a plan. But this ship was not like the others. There were no guards, no locks, no orders. Every day Jack spoke to her politely. He asked nothing from her. "Do you want tea? Would you like to join me at dinner? You can walk anywhere on the ship. Just don't go out without a suit." Lyra thought, is this a trap? She waited for the moment when he would show his real face, when he would chain her, or punish her. But the moment never came. Instead, he showed her kindness. One day, Jack brought a small potted plant into the kitchen. "I grew this from an old earth seed," he said with a smile. "Pretty, right?" Lyra stared at the tiny green leaves. She had never seen a real plant before. "I thought you people destroyed your planet," she said coldly. Jack nodded. "Some of us did. Some of us still try to fix what we can." Lyra didn't answer. She touched the plant. It felt alive, soft, real. It reminded her of her daughter's hands. The next day, Lyra walked into the med bay. She wanted to learn how to use the controls, in case she ever needed to escape. But what she found stopped her. Jack was healing a small injured creature, a bird-like alien with a broken wing. He carefully cleaned the wound, whispered softly to the creature, and then bandaged it gently. Lyra watched from the door unseen. She didn't understand. Why did a human, one of the galaxy's most feared species, care about a small animal? She left without saying a word. Later that night, Jack found her standing near the ship window again. "Do you want to talk about your daughter?" he asked. "No," Lyra said quickly. He nodded. "Okay." There was a long silence. Then Lyra spoke, almost by accident. "She's strong," she said, "and smart, braver than me." Jack smiled. "I believe that," he said. Lyra turned to him. "You still haven't told me," she said. "Why did you really buy me?" Jack's smile faded. He looked away. "I couldn't save my daughter," he said, "but maybe I can help someone else." Lyra didn't sleep that night. She returned to the locked room again. But this time, the door was already open. Inside, she saw drawings on the wall. Child drawings. A mix of human and alien figures. 2 girls holding hands. In the corner, a small toy robot sat on a shelf. Next to it, a music box. She opened the box. A soft melody played. Sad and beautiful. Then, she saw it. A photo. 2 girls again. The same ones from the video. One was clearly Jack's daughter. The other was an alien. Lyra picked up the photo. The alien child looked like someone she knew. Not her daughter, but close. Suddenly, Jack spoke behind her. "She was called Naya," he said. "We took her in. My daughter loved her." "What happened?" Lyra asked. The war, Jack said. The station was attacked. I tried to save them, I failed. He took a deep breath. I lost both. Lyra looked at him. For the first time, she saw the pain in his eyes. Real pain. Not fake. She didn't speak. She just listened. Then he said, something that shook her. I see your pain, Lyra, and I don't want anything from you. I want to help you get her back. Lyra took a step back. Her heart was heavy. Could she trust him, or was this all just another kindness trap? Next day, Jack handed her a small device. A tracker, he said. I found a match on the black market network. A child, blue skin, female, near the mining planet of Veltar 9. Lyra's eyes widened. It could be her. Could be, Jack said. I'll take you there, if you want. Lyra looked at him. Why? She asked again. Jack just said, because someone has to do the right thing. Final scene. Cliffhanger. As the ship sets course for Veltar 9, a shadowy alien watches. A screen from far away. On it, Lyra's face appears. The alien smiles. She escaped. But not for long. The deal rewritten space was quiet. Lyra sat by the window, watching the stars fly past. The ship moved fast through the dark, glowing trails of light passing outside like ghosts. But her heart was not calm. Jack stood in the cockpit, scanning the star map. He didn't speak much that day. He knew what was coming next. The mining planet Veltar 9, a place known for illegal trade, lost people, and deep secrets. And maybe her daughter. Lyra touched the small tracker Jack gave her. Her fingers trembled. What if it wasn't her? What if it was too late? 3 hours later, Jack brought her some food, warm bread and protein soup. You need to eat, he said gently. I'm not hungry. You haven't eaten all day. Lyra looked at him. Her eyes were tired but sharp. Don't treat me like a child. Jack didn't get angry. He sat across from her. You're not a child, he said. You're a mother, and I respect that. Lyra looked away. A long silence passed between them. Then she finally asked, Why are you helping me? Jack sighed. I lost everything during the war. My wife, my daughter, my home. I survived, but not really. I became someone I didn't like. Cold, angry, dangerous. Lyra listened quietly. But one day, Jack continued, I found a small alien boy, half dead on the edge of a battlefield. I helped him, and for the first time, I felt alive again. He looked at her. Helping others gave me a reason to breathe. Lyra looked down. I've never met a human like you. Jack smiled. There aren't many like me left. They landed on Veltar 9 in the middle of a red dust storm. The planet was covered in mines, machines, and metal towers. The air smelled of oil and smoke. Aliens of all kinds walked the streets. Miners, traders, bounty hunters, and worse. Lyra wore a long black cloak. Her face was hidden. Jack walked beside her, his gun under his coat. Stay close, he whispered. They entered a crowded trading hub. Machines buzzed. Slaves stood in metal cages. Traders shouted prices. Lyra's hands shook. Her eyes scanned every child, every cage. Then she saw something, a small blue hand. She rushed forward, but Jack held her back. Wait, that's not her. Lyra looked again. The child was too small, a different face. She stepped back, pain growing. Inside her, a voice behind them whispered, Looking for something? They turned. A small lizard-like alien stood there, smiling with yellow teeth. I saw a girl like her, he said. Blue skin, smart, not a slave, protected. Protected? Jack asked. Yes, owned by a collector, high security. She wears a golden collar, special ID. Lyra's eyes burned. Where? The alien grinned. I'll tell you. For 800 credits. Jack stepped forward, face calm. Tell us, he said, and I'll give you 400. Lie to us and I'll take your tongue. The lizard blinked, then nodded quickly. She's on the upper level, Tower 9, with Lord Cormac. Jack gave him the credits. Who's Cormac? Lyra asked. Jack's face turned dark. A war collector. He buys rare beings, shows them off like pets. Lyra's heart broke. We're going now. That night, they reached Tower 9, an old building with gold lights and robotic guards. Lyra and Jack put on fake IDs. Jack used an old contact to hack into the guest list. They entered the tower as guests to a private party. Music played. Aliens danced, expensive food was served, but Lyra's eyes searched only for one thing. And then, she saw her. On a high platform, sitting on a silk pillow, wearing a golden collar. Her daughter. She looked thin, tired, but alive. Lyra almost ran, but Jack grabbed her hand. Not yet, he said. Security will shoot on sight. Lyra's tears fell, but she nodded. We need a plan, Jack whispered. We take her tonight. They left the party and returned to the ship. Jack opened his secret box. Inside were stealth suits, EMP devices, and stun guns. I don't want to hurt anyone, he said. But I'll do what I must. Lyra looked at him surprised. You were a soldier? Jack nodded. Not anymore. They prepared for the mission. Lyra trained with a small pulse gun. Jack taught her how to walk without sound. At midnight, they returned. They climbed the tower from the outside, magnetic gloves and silent boots. Inside, alarms buzzed softly. Lasers crossed the hallways. Cameras watched. Jack disabled each one, with skill and speed. Lyra followed, heart pounding. Finally, they reached the chamber. Her daughter lay sleeping. Lyra stepped in slowly. Sweetheart, she whispered. The girl opened her eyes. Mama, she whispered. Lyra hugged her tight. Tears flowed. I came for you, Lyra said. I came. But the moment was broken. Intruders detected. The room turned red. Alarms screamed. Jack shouted, Go, take her, I'll hold them. No, Lyra screamed, but guards were coming. Jack fired a smoke bomb. Run, Lyra! She grabbed her daughter and ran. They reached the ship. Jack came last, bleeding from the shoulder. Lyra helped him inside. The engines roared. They escaped. Barely. Inside the ship, Lyra held her daughter. She fed her, cleaned her, wrapped her in warm clothes. The girl smiled weakly. I knew you'd come, Lyra cried. I will never leave you again. Jack sat in the med bay. His arm was bandaged. Lyra came in. You saved us. Jack looked at her. You saved her. Lyra shook her head. Not alone. Never alone again. Jack gave a small smile. Then the deal is rewritten, he said. No slave. No master. Only survivors. They shook hands. But far away, on Veltar 9, Lord Cormac watched the camera replay. He pointed at the image. Bring them to me. Alive. Enemies in the shadows. The stars were quiet again. But peace never lasted long. Lyra stood by the medbay window, watching Jack sleep. His shoulder wound was healing slowly. She had helped him change the bandages, something she never thought she would do for a human, and yet here she was protecting the one person who had protected her. Her daughter, Alari, slept in the next room, thin, pale, but safe, alive. Lyra had her back, but her mind was not calm. Jack had said they were free now. Lyra knew better. No one escapes Lord Cormac without consequences. Far across the galaxy, inside a dark golden hall, Lord Cormac stood beside a hologram. It showed Lyra, Jack, and the child boarding their ship. Cormac's red eyes narrowed. He turned to his servant, a tall insectoid being with 6 arms. Find them, Cormac hissed. Send the shade hunters. They broke the trade law, the servant said. Cormac smiled. No, they broke my pride. Back on the ship, Jack finally woke up. You should rest more, Lyra said. Jack slowly sat up. Can't, we need to move, Cormac won't stop. You saved us, Lyra said softly. You could have died. Jack looked at her. So could you. There was a pause. Then Lyra asked, Why do you care so much? Jack hesitated. Then he said, Because I know what it's like to lose a child and I couldn't stand by and let it happen again. Later that day, Jack checked the ship's radar. Something was wrong. We're being followed, he said. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. Cormac? Maybe. Maybe worse. On the screen, a small black ship appeared behind them. Silent. No ID. No signal. Who are they? Lyra asked. Jack frowned. I've seen this type before. They're called shade hunters. They work in shadows. No mercy, no noise, just death. Alari walked into the room holding a soft blanket. Is someone chasing us? She asked. Lyra knelt. No one will hurt you, not while I breathe. Jack took the ship into a dense asteroid field. The rocks floated slowly but close together. One wrong turn and they'd be crushed. I'll hide us in here, Jack said. Lyra helped him guide. The ship. She learned fast. They landed the ship inside a giant hollow asteroid. From the outside, it looked like a rock. Inside, they had cover. Jack powered everything down. If we're quiet, they won't find us. Hours passed. Lyra sat with her daughter and told her old bedtime stories. Alari smiled. Mama, is that man your friend? Lyra didn't answer right away. Then she said, He is something better. He saved you. In the dark control room, Jack sat alone. His eyes watched the radar screen. Still, no movement. Until a small, red dot blinked. Then 2. Then 5. They were surrounded. Jack jumped up. Lyra, get the child, now! Lyra ran into the room. What is it? Shade hunters. They found us. They're coming in through the asteroid cracks. Suddenly, lights flickered. A sharp sound buzzed in the ship. Hack attempt detected, door override in progress, they're inside, Jack yelled. He handed Lyra a stun gun. Protect her, no matter what. Lyra held her daughter tight and hid her in a small storage pod. Don't come out until I say, she told her. The first intruder dropped through the ceiling. Silent, fast, robotic armor, no face. Lyra shot her stun gun, missed. Jack aimed and hit the enemy square in the chest. It dropped, but more came. 3, 5, 7. They fought back to back. Jack's arm still weak, Lyra's hands shaking. Jack shouted, Get to the escape pod. Lyra grabbed Alari and ran. Jack stayed behind. Lyra reached the pod chamber, but something stopped her. Her daughter was crying, and Lyra's heart screamed. She turned back. Jack was down, surrounded. Jack. She ran forward, fired, hit 1 shade, then 2. Jack crawled toward her. Together they pulled each other into the escape pod. Lyra sealed the door. The main ship exploded behind them. The pod floated through space. Silent. Small. Inside, the 3 of them sat close. No words, only breathing. After some time, Jack whispered, We survived. Lyra looked at him. You risked everything again, she said. He looked at her daughter and smiled weakly. She's worth it. Hours later, the escape pod docked with a nearby trade station called Noma's Hope, a safe zone for outlaws, broken ships, and lost people. They entered the station quietly. Crowds moved around them. No one paid attention. Lyra carried her daughter. Jack held his side, still bleeding. A voice from the speaker welcomed them. Welcome to Noma's Hope. No weapons, no questions, no mercy for liars. Jack whispered, We'll be safe here, for now. At a dark table inside the station, a hooded alien watched the screen. He zoomed in on Jack's face, then Lyra's, then the child. He tapped his communicator. I've found them. Tell Cormac the game has only begun. The rescue gamble. The trade station Noma's Hope was built inside the shell of a dead asteroid. It was dark, noisy, and full of secrets. Neon signs buzzed in 10 languages. Rusty ships hovered above the landing decks. Thieves, bounty hunters, smugglers, all kinds of beings walked here. No one asked questions. No one offered help. It was the perfect place to disappear. But Lyra knew better. You don't escape forever, only by time. Inside a small, rented room, Jack sat on the floor sewing. His wound shut. His face was pale, but his eyes were sharp. Lyra stood nearby, holding Alari's hand. The child watched quietly, her little body shaking from silent nightmares. "You should let a doctor look at that," Lyra said. "No time. Doctors here cost more than starships," Jack replied. Lyra knelt beside him. "Then let me help." Jack raised an eyebrow but gave her the thread. "You've done this before?" he asked. "I was a prisoner. We learned fast." Jack nodded. "That's a terrible school." Lyra smiled, just a little. The first smile in days. Later, while Alari slept, Jack pulled up a hologram map. "I've been listening," he said. "Cormac isn't just angry, he's making moves, paying spies, setting traps." Lyra's face tightened. "He wants Alari." "He wants you both," Jack said. "He lost power when you escaped. He wants revenge." "So we hide again?" Jack shook his head. "Not this time." He zoomed into a red zone on the map. "There's a planet called Delaris X. Cormac runs a private lab there. It's where he keeps his most special prisoners. Rich clients come to see them." Lyra clenched her fists. "Slavery in a lab coat." Jack nodded. "And they're holding a data key there. If we steal it, we can expose everything. Broadcast Cormac's crimes. Bring real eyes to his empire." Lyra's heart raced. "And if we fail?" Jack looked at her, serious. "We don't get a second chance. The plan they couldn't fight, so they would pretend." Jack sent a message using a fake trader code. "High-value alien female for auction preview. Seeking Lord Cormac's offer." They forged documents, changed their names, cut their hair, painted scars, wore collars, fake ones, but painful to wear. Jack played the cruel traitor. Lyra played the silent captive. Alari stayed with a trusted, smuggler family on Noma's Hope. Safe, hidden. Lyra hugged her tightly before leaving. "If I don't come back, run far. Never stop running." Alari hugged her back. "You'll come back. You always do." Arrival at Delaris X was cold. White skies, metallic buildings, cameras everywhere. They landed at the lab gates. Guards in black armor scanned their ship. Jack stepped out first, dragging Lyra by a thick chain. She walked with her head low, her hands bound. A sharp-eyed female officer stepped forward. "Trader ID?" Jack handed her the forged pass. "Name's Bron Valek. Brought a purebred Zyran. Fresh catch." The officer checked the data. "Why bring her here?" Jack smiled, coldly. "Heard Lord Cormac is paying top coin. I want in." She stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. "Take her to holding room 7. You'll meet the boss soon." Inside, Lyra was shoved into a cold metal room. Alone. Cameras watched every corner. Jack was taken somewhere else. Her collar itched. Her heart pounded. She was back in a cage. Back in the life she thought she'd escaped. But this time, she was pretending. This time she had a way out. Meanwhile, Jack sat across from a tall, thin alien with golden eyes. Dr. Sorek, Cormac's chief scientist. "Your product looks rare," Sorek said. Jack leaned back. "I only sell once. To the highest bidder." Sorek smiled. "Let's hope the test results confirm the purity." Jack's eyes narrowed. "Test?" Sorek nodded. "Blood, skin, thought waves. All must be examined." Jack forced a smile. Of course. But inside he knew. If they scanned too deep, they'd know she was faking. Back in holding room 7, Lyra was strapped to a chair. Needles poked her skin. Machines scanned her mind. She bit her lip to stop screaming. A robotic voice spoke. Subject shows signs of emotional trauma, but genetic purity is confirmed. The lab assistant walked out. Take her to holding block C, show her off. As the guards pulled her up, Lyra slipped a small wire out of her sleeve. Jack had given it to her. One chance, one hack, one broadcast. The gamble begins. They brought her to a glass room. On the other side, wealthy clients watched. This is her, said the guard. The last Xeran female from the forest planets. Lyra stood still, silent, like they wanted, but inside, her mind was working fast. She saw the lab core behind the glass. A small data panel, wires running down into the floor. She stepped forward slowly, then collapsed, on purpose. The guards rushed in. She used the wire, plugged it into the panel. It buzzed once, then twice. Broadcast activated. All across Delaris X, screens turned blue. Then, video played. Images of slave children, experiments, cages. Screams, Lyra's voice echoed. This is the truth. This is Cormac's empire. Let the galaxy see him now. Chaos. Alarms rang. Guards ran. Clients screamed. Jack burst in through the side door, gun blazing. He grabbed Lyra's hand. You did it! Now let's live long enough to enjoy it, she shouted. They ran. But the doors were closing. Explosives. Shots. Smoke bombs. They jumped through a high window. Fell into a trash chute. Landed hard. Bruised, bleeding, but breathing. The escape. They stole a supply skiff and blasted off the planet. Cormac's voice came on the radio. You fools. You'll regret this. I'll find you. I'll find your child. I will burn you both. Jack turned off the comms. Lyra looked at him. I don't care if he finds me again, she said. As long as Alari is free. Jack smiled. She is. And now the galaxy knows what he really is. Back on Noma's Hope, Alari waits with the smuggler woman. Then, doors open. Lyra runs in. Alari screams with joy. Mama! They hug. Jack enters, tired but smiling. They all embrace. But outside the station, a small camera watches them. The video feeds directly to a tall figure in red armor. A voice whispers, Cormac may fall, but the war has only just begun. Blood and mercy. The galaxy had seen the truth. Lyra's broadcast footage of slaves, experiments, children in cages had spread like wildfire across systems. From quiet villages to busy trade routes, everyone now knew the name of Lord Cormac. And they knew what he did. Some called him a monster. Some called him finished. But Lyra knew better. Wounded beasts bite hardest. Back on Noma's Hope, Lyra watched her daughter sleep. Alari had her arms wrapped around a stuffed toy Jack bought from a vendor. She looked peaceful, safe. For the first time in years, Lyra allowed herself to believe they might have a future. Jack entered quietly. She still asleep? Lyra nodded. She didn't ask about her collar tonight, she whispered. She didn't wake up screaming. Jack leaned against the wall. His face still showed bruises from Delaris X. Then it's working. Bit by bit. Lyra looked out the window into space. But for how long? The next morning a message came through the comms, encrypted. Human code. Jack's face changed as he read it. What is it? Lyra asked. Jack looked at her. Cormac's transport was attacked. He's been taken by a rebel cell. Lyra stood still. Alive? Jack nodded. They want us to come. They're asking if we want justice. The rebel camp was hidden inside a frozen moon, small, cold, and armed to the teeth. When Lyra and Jack arrived, they were met by Commander Varn, an ex-mercenary who had lost his sister to Cormac's collections. He didn't smile. You did the galaxy a favor, Varn said. Now it's time to finish it. He led them to a dark cell. Behind thick glass stood Lord Cormac, weak, bloodied, but alive. He looked up as they approached, eyes burning with hate. So, Cormac said, the mother and her pet human. Come to watch me die? Lyra stared through the glass. Her hands tightened into fists. She remembered her daughter's thin arms, the golden collar, the night screams. Jack stepped forward. "We came because killing you, so it won't be justice, it'll be revenge." Varn frowned. "And what's wrong with that?" Jack didn't blink. "Nothing. Unless it turns us into the same thing we're fighting." That night, Lyra sat by the fire outside the camp. Varn joined her. "I saw the look in your eyes," he said. "You want to end him." Lyra said nothing. He offered her a knife. "No one here will stop you." She took it, held it, then looked at her reflection in the blade. "Will my daughter sleep better if I kill him?" she asked softly. Varn shrugged. "She'll be safer." "But will I?" Inside the ship, Jack checked on Alari. She had drawn pictures of stars, a flower, and 3 people holding hands. Jack, Lyra, Alari. She had drawn them as a family. Jack smiled, and it hurt. The next morning, Lyra returned to the cell. She stood in front of Cormac. He smiled. "Have you come to thank me?" Lyra blinked. "For what?" "For making you strong," he said. "For showing you the truth about your weak little species. You would have died forgotten. I made you powerful." She stared at him. "You're wrong. I became powerful when I walked away from your world." He laughed. "You still wear scars I gave you." Lyra stepped closer. "I wear them with pride," she whispered, "because they didn't break me." Then she held up the knife. Jack and Varn stood outside watching. But Lyra didn't move. Cormac's face turned unsure. "Do it," he hissed. "You want to. You need to." "No," Lyra said. She dropped the knife. "I'm not you." A different justice later, the rebels held a vote. Varn wanted execution. Some wanted a trial. Lyra stepped forward. "I won't ask you to spare him," she said. "But I won't be his executioner," Jack added. "Broadcast his trial. Show the galaxy what happens to monsters. Let law be louder than hate." The rebels agreed. Cormac would be tried by the Galactic Peace Council, first time in years. Warlord would face judgment. That night, Lyra sat with Jack and Alari under the stars. "You could have killed him," Jack said. "I wanted to," she said honestly. "But I didn't want to carry that weight." Jack nodded. "That's strength, Lyra." She looked at him. "Do you ever wonder what life could have been if none of this happened?" He smiled. "All the time." Then she took his hand, quietly, gently, like someone learning how to feel again. Cormac sat in his prison cell, chains around his wrists, guards watching, but deep inside the shadows, a hidden communicator blinked. A voice whispered, "Phase 2 is ready." Cormac grinned. "Then let them have their justice. We'll give them war. The new beginning." The trial of Lord Cormac was the most watched event in the galaxy. Screens lit up across planets, moons, stations. Rich traders and poor miners all stopped to listen. Survivors came forward, mothers, children, ex-slaves. Each, one told the truth about cages, about collars, about screams in the dark, and about how one woman, one human, and one child fought back. Lyra stood outside the trial chamber, watching it all from a distance. She didn't need to be inside. She had lived it. Her pain was real. Her story didn't need cameras anymore. Jack walked up beside her. He wore simple clothes now, no weapons, no armor, just peace. "They're calling you a hero," he said. Lyra shook her head. "I'm just a mother," Jack smiled. "That's what makes you one." Inside, the judges gave their verdict. Cormac was sentenced to life on a prison asteroid. No sunlight, no power, no empire. His face was cold, but his eyes burned. He said nothing, not even at the end. After the trial, the Galactic Peace Council sent a ship to Noma's Hope. A kind woman named Ambassador Lila stepped out. She shook Lyra's hand. We watched everything, she said. You've done more than any army. I didn't do it alone, Lyra replied. Ambassador Lila smiled. We want to offer you and your daughter full protection, citizenship, a home on Earth, education, freedom. Lyra froze. Earth? The same planet she once feared? Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. You don't have to decide now. But Alari tugged her sleeve. I want to go, Mama. I want to learn about stars. I want to see flowers, real ones. Lyra bent down, brushing her daughter's hair. Then we'll go, she said softly. But only if he comes too. She looked at Jack. His eyes widened. Me? Lyra nodded. You're part of this family now, if you want to be. Jack didn't speak. He just hugged them both, tightly. 1 month later, they arrived. Blue oceans, green trees, white clouds. Lyra stood on real grass for the first time in her life. Her boots sank into soft ground. This is... She paused, not knowing the word. Jack whispered, Home. Alari ran through a flower field laughing. Lyra took off her boots, felt the earth, the sun. She closed her eyes and breathed. They were given a small house in a peaceful town, near a forest, near a school. Alari went to classes every day, learning languages, science, music. She made friends. She smiled more. Lyra took healing classes. She helped other refugees who came from dark places like hers. She taught them to speak again, to trust, to feel. Jack started building small ships for families trying to reunite. He smiled more too. One evening, Lyra and Jack sat on the porch. Stars sparkled above. The wind carried soft music from the village. "Doe, you miss the old life?" Jack asked. Lyra shook her head. "I don't even recognize that person anymore." Jack looked at her. "You've changed." "So have you," she replied. "You smile now." Jack chuckled. "I have reasons." Lyra leaned her head on his shoulder. Quiet, warm, safe. One day, a small drone arrived at their home. It carried a message, encrypted, from Commander Varn. Jack played it. Lyra. Jack. Something is happening. Cormac had allies. Quiet ones, rich ones. They're rebuilding in the shadows. We've stopped one evil, but more is coming. Jack frowned. Lyra stood up slowly. Do they want us back? Varn's message ended. We want leaders who don't want power. We want people like you. That night, Lyra sat beside Alari's bed. The child was reading a book about stars and peacekeepers. Do you want to be one of them? Lyra asked. Maybe, Alari smiled. But I also want to grow flowers. Lyra kissed her forehead. I'll always protect your future, even if it means going back into the storm. The next morning, Lyra packed her bag. Jack stood at the door. Are we going? He asked. Lyra looked back at her home, her child, her peace. Then she looked at Jack. We're not going back to war, she said. We're going to build a world where no one needs to fight again. The camera fades out as they walk into a bright sunrise, together. 3 survivors, 1 family. Not born from blood, but built through pain, hope, and love. A voiceover. Echoes in soft, clear words. She sold herself to save her child. But the human who bought her gave her freedom, strength, and something even more rare. A future worth living for.